Let's talk about Porsha and her ex Dennis spotted out with ex-wife of Roa star Falynn. Now, do you guys remember all of this situation when Porsha was dating Falynn's at that time husband, when her and Falynn were co-stars pretending to be friends? Because as we know, production likes to lie about friendships and put friends together, even though they're not really friends. Well, let's hear the latest on what's going on with Porsha, Dennis, and Falynn. So this is from Radar Online. It says, former Real Housewives Atlanta star Porsha Williams' ex Dennis McKinley has been spotted out with Falynn Pina, the ex-wife of Williams' estranged husband Simon Gubadier, RadarOnline.com has learned. Dennis and Falynn went on Instagram together to promote a pop-up in Montgomery, Alabama, where Dennis was signing and giving away bottles of his Nyack cognac. Wow. Porsha and Dennis officially announced their relationship in 2018. They revealed they were expecting a child and got engaged several months later. Following rumors that Dennis cheated on Porsha while she was pregnant, the couple eventually split up for good in 2020, but still co-parent their daughter, Pilar Genia McKinley, who she calls PJ, who recently celebrated her 5th birthday. Okay, now this is the same Pop It Open Porsha who on her spinoff, Porsha Family Matters, or whatever it was called, this Dennis is the same one who Porsha tried to fight his mother. Yes, Porsha tried to fight Dennis's mother, and I mean physically fight Dennis's mother on the spinoff show, who is the grandmother of her child. This is the same Porsha that we're bringing back to Roa. This is the same Porsha that, went after, who fought Cynthia of all people. Who fights Cynthia? Who fought Cynthia? Who fought Kenya? Who fought that girl in the alley? So violent. It's crazy. So crazy. But I think all of this is just to give Porsha a storyline for the next season of Roa. All of a sudden, Dennis is hanging out with Falynn, who is Simon's ex. I think Falynn is probably trying to get back on the show. I think Dennis wants to be on the show for his hot dog company. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if it's still going on. Was there fraud? Was there not fraud? Hot mess. We know Simon has been exposed, all alleged, but you know the deal, for his fraud. Apparently might be deported and doing credit card fraud and identity theft and all this crazy things going on. It's just fraud after fraud after fraud. But apparently that's what Bravo likes. Apparently that's what they want. They're looking for people who are violent fraudsters because that's all they're casting and that's all they're rewarding, apparently. So Falynn was married to Simon from 2019 to 2021. Porsha and Simon got engaged in May 2021 and married a year later. While they have long maintained that the whirlwind romance began after Simon's marriage to Falynn, who was Porsha's friend at the time, had ended, Porsha's cousin has claimed that she and Simon began the relationship while he was still married to Falynn. And they did. I mean, he was still married to Falynn. And Porsha was on Instagram saying that she was engaged to him. So that's Pop It Open. Porsha was fully engaged to a married man who was married, if she doesn't want to say friend, co-star, who she was pretending to be friends with on the show. She was in this woman's face. She was in this woman's home, doing all of that. And then a couple of weeks later, she's on Instagram saying that she's engaged to this woman's husband. That's your Pop It Open Porsha right there. Karma works fast and has everybody's address. As Radar Online previously reported, Porsha filed for divorce from Simon on February 22nd after 15 months of marriage after she learned about his criminal history and questionable immigration. Please. Porsha probably filed for divorce I think Porsha filed for a divorce for a couple of reasons. Number one, storyline. Number two, the allegedly fraud money probably ran out, which is why she wants that prenup enforced. And Porsha, you keep making poor decisions when it comes to your love life. And I said this before, I think Porsha could have been such a bigger star. She lost me as a person who was into her when she did the whole I'm engaged to my co-star's husband and I don't care, when she was a part of the plot to call Candy Burris a sexual assault person, like, oh, she's gonna drug her and do things to her in her basement. Like, girl, you knew that was a lie and you still said it. You can blame it on Phaedra all you want, but you brought the bone to the show because you wanted to. Like, you know, Porsha might be dumb, but she's not stupid. You know, she lost faith, all of that stuff. So I think Porsha is her own worst enemy. Even though she's not my cup of tea or she's not my cup of peach juice, she does have a big following. She was on Dish Nation. She is beautiful, this, that, and the third. People are into her. I think she could have been a much bigger star if she didn't do all of the weird shenanigans she did, like being super violent, picking horrible men, you know, quitting on Dish Nation, not following through with Roa, like all of that stuff. I think she could have had a much bigger star power than she does. But then also karma, you know, the way you treat people, the energy you put out comes back to you. So there's that. So I think she divorced him for storyline. And I think whatever alleged fraudulent money he had is gone. I think he probably sold her a bill of goods. She walked into Falynn's house. She wanted the house. She wanted the money. She wanted the car. She wanted the life. And then once she got it, she realized the emperor has no clothes and this is a house of cards and all isn't what it seems. You know? So there's that. Wife shows up the news reports of husband's alleged immigration fraud and what appeared to be an imminent threat of deportation were shocking and affected wife's mental and emotional well-being, her lawyer wrote. None of this information was ever disclosed by husband to wife, despite wife having previously inquired about husband's immigration status and criminal history. This is another thing. I'm not saying that men who lie are criminals like all the time, but if the person you choose to be with has corruptible morals, as in he is a man who is married to a woman and he chooses to propose to you while being married to this woman, while letting this woman, you know, they have children and extended family and all of this stuff, knowing that you and this woman have a history together. Maybe you're not best friends, but you are coworkers. So if that man is willing to dog the hell out of this other woman, why would you think he wouldn't dog the hell out of you? Don't you think he's lying to Falynn? Don't you think you know what I'm saying? It's always the person who thinks, well, I'm different, I'm special, he won't do it to me. Yeah, right. You the way you get him is how you lose him, or whatever the saying is. You know, it's like, again, it's almost like Ariana with Tom Sandoval. She thought she was so cool. I'm the cool. I was born cool. Ugh, and all that crap. And then he turned around and did it to you because people are who they are. But you want to be delusional and think you're different and you're special. But when you get in bed with the snake, you get bit by the snake. But you knew who you got in bed with. So for Porsha now to act like I had no idea he was such this horrible person. Well, the fact that he's even with you, the way he got with you, proves he's a horrible person. You know, it's like if you see a dog biting somebody else and then you take that dog home and the dog bites you, why are you shocked? It's the dog's nature to bite and you knew it was a biter. So I really don't have any sympathy for Porsha when it comes to this. And I really think it's a sad state where it's like, this is the storyline and the juice that these networks are looking for. Let's bring her back. There's fraud, there's cheating, there's divorce, there's drama, there's allegations. Like, this is what they're feeding us to consume. So then we're hooked to this crap because it's a bunch of crap, to be honest. Anyway, And that's not from a judgment. I'm right here eating the crap, spilling the crap, talking to the crap with you guys. So I take full accountability. I am a part of the crap too. I'm talking about it too. I'm watching it too. I'm reporting on it too. So that's not from a place of judgment because I'm right here with everybody else with the crap. I'm just self-aware enough to be honest about it. Okay. Since learning of the husband's checkered immigration history and status, wife began to question everything that she initially believed to be true as it relates to her husband's character, immigration, business dealings, etc., and began to uncover additional information that husband failed to disclose to wife. Petitioner did not wish to remain married to a stranger and filed for divorce. Again, Porsha, you lying. And I'm going to tell you how we know you're lying, Porsha. Remember back when everything was breaking with like Falynn and Porsha and Simon? I was reporting on the fact that Simon Gubaudier was a fraud. If I knew all the way back then that he was a fraud, you're going to tell me Porsha didn't know? Shout out to Tisa Tells. She has totally blown up her YouTube channel. She was reporting every day, about 10 times a day, about how much of a fraud Simon was. She had Falynn on her show. It was being reported everywhere. So if we know Simon's a fraud and we don't actually know Simon, you're going to tell me Porsha didn't know he was a fraud? In my opinion, I think Porsha knew he was a fraud, but she didn't care as long as the money was there. But once the money dried up, and then now she has this opportunity to go back to Roa, now she wants to act like she had no idea. How did you have no idea? Every single blog was talking about how Simon was a fraud. Every YouTuber was talking about how Simon was a fraud. How did you have no idea when we all knew? Simons denied the allegations, claiming in court papers that he has been a permanent resident since 1990 and is not at risk of deportation. As RadarOnline.com exclusively reported, Simon asked the judge for a restraining order against Porsha last month after claiming that she showed up at their marital home with a pew-pew toting bodyguards, even though a private security guard said that he posed no threat. Since the filing of the instant divorce, wife's actions have been erratic, unstable, threatening, and harassing to petitioner, the house staff, and the minor children, Simon claimed in court documents. Wife's behavior has caused safety concerns, especially since there are minor children, husband's children currently living in the marital residence. In return, Porsha accused Simon of fleeing to Dubai after she filed for divorce and changing the locks on her home from overseas. She requested an emergency hearing to give her access to their shared Georgia mansion, arguing the prenup they signed stated Simon had to vacate within 30 days of divorce filing. So, Porsha, this entire time, have you been footing the bill? Have you been paying to act like you are married to a rich man? But have you actually been paying for this lifestyle the entire time? Because why is it Simon has to vacate in 30 days of the Georgia mansion? I'm guessing it's because is the home in your name? Is your name on the deed? Because you and Simon are, I guess you guys are legally married, but this seems real quicker than freaking Ariana and Tom, and they weren't even married living in the same home. Took them over a year to figure their stuff out. He only had 30 days. Is only your name on the deed? I feel like Porsha has been footing the bill for their entire lifestyle. You know what I mean? And it's all now coming to head. And he flew to Dubai because he knew he was about to be deported from the United States. He didn't want them to get the clink on and send him back to wherever the hell he came from. So he went to Dubai because at least in Dubai, he can be free. He's probably hanging out with the girls from Dubai over there. Who knows? Watch out. Watch out. But Porsha, Karma knows everybody's address. I knew she was always like violent and a liar, but just on a very human woman gut level, the way she so blatantly disrespected Falynn was so disgusting to me. I could never rock with her again. I obviously don't know Falynn or anything like that, but just from like a human level, you don't have to publicly humiliate, dehumanize, and disrespect another woman like she's done something to you, when the fact is you're having sex with and you are engaged to her husband. The way Porsha was acting was like Falynn did something to her. And I don't care what situation Simon and Falynn had going on. I don't care. I don't care if they were unhappy. I don't care if she was cheating or he was cheating. I don't care. I don't. It does not matter. Doesn't matter. The way Porsha treated that woman was disgusting. They didn't have to be best friends. It's human decency. And it goes back to just basic decency. It's never what you do, it's always how you do it. And just the way she was so arrogant and so disrespectful. And then it turned out Falynn was pregnant at the time. Whether it's Simon's baby or not, who cares? She's still a pregnant woman dealing with the stuff she's dealing with. And you are so publicly disrespecting her. That's so gross and disgusting. Let's pretend Porsha really thought Simon was the love of her life. I don't think she did. I think she thought he had money. I actually think it's twofold. I think Porsha thought Simon had money and she wanted to be about that life. And two, I think it's even deeper than that. I think that she saw Falynn. Falynn's beautiful. Falynn had this life that she wanted with these cars, with this husband, with all of this money, and it all looks very shiny and nice. And I think that Porsha's ego, toxic ego, got such a kick and such a boost out of stealing a man from a woman like Falynn. I think it made her feel better about herself. I think even more so than thinking Simon had money, I think with with women, I'm going to be specific here. I'm not being sexist. I'm just talking about women. I think sometimes with women, happens with men too, but I think more so with women, if you have a deep hole in your sense of self and your self-worth and your self-esteem, you will fill that darkness by thinking that you stole somebody else's shine. And for as beautiful and talented and pop it open Porsha is, you have to have a deep hole within your sense of self to treat another woman that way. Because even if you thought Simon was the love of your life, you didn't have to dog her out the way you dogged her out. She could have very privately said, this is really messy. Like, and I mean, like, not on Instagram, because they were all over the place, like what and what, right? She could have went to Falynn privately and said, listen, I know this is really messy. This isn't who I am. I know it sounds cliche, but we happen to fall in love. I know you guys aren't happy. Let's figure out a way to do this that shows you respect. And I am so sorry that this is happening. But let's figure out a way for everyone to be happy. But the way Porsha did it was so disgusting, and that's why she's getting her karma and her comeuppance. Yes, Falynn was pregnant. Falynn was pregnant because remember, it was the whole question about the paternity. Like, was it Simon's baby or was it Falynn's best friend? I forgot what his name was that she ended up marrying, but now I think they're like divorced or got engaged to. That was a whole nother thing. I forgot what her best friend name is, but I don't think that Falynn and the best friend were ever, they did like a VH1 show, like couples therapy, and they did like a YouTube channel together. But I stand by this. Again, this is just alleged. His mother actually co-signed what I said, because this happened years ago when Falynn came out. I wasn't even doing this type of YouTube, and I was on Kimpire's as like a person who called in. And I said, I don't think that Falynn and her friend are romantic. I think they're best friends, but I think that she asked him to pretend to be her romantic interest so that she could do the YouTube and she could claim him as the father of her child. When in reality, I don't think that's true. And the mother came on Kimpire's channel and said, yeah, whatever that last caller, I think she's right. And that was me. I don't think that Falynn and her friend were actually ever together. I think that was her I think that was her good Judy, like her good friend. You know what I mean? I'm not going to speak on his sexuality unless he speaks on it. So, because that's not my place. But that's what it seemed more like. That was like her good Judy. And he was being like a really good friend to her. And so they were doing like the YouTubes and, other reality shows, but it never seemed like it was real. And there was always the rumor that Falynn was dating some athlete and that he may have been the father of her child and was subsidizing her life and all of that stuff. So there's all that going on. But regardless of what was going on with Falynn in her love life, what Porsha did was still so gross and disgusting. And karma always comes back to bite you. So I think a couple of things is going on with this. Number one, I think that Falynn might want to be back on Roa. I think Porsha is looking for more storyline. I think Dennis might want to be back on Roa because as we've seen with the men, they love their 15 minutes of fame just like the girls do. So who knows? I mean, it would be quite the twist of fate if Falynn and Dennis got together. The petty side of me would love it. Like I would eat every single bit of this up if Falynn and Dennis got together. Like the absolute petty in me would like love this. It would be chef's kiss. But the other side of me, just everybody, can we just like cut the cord and be good? So let me know what you guys think. Put it down below. Do you think that this is just storyline and ploy for the upcoming season of Roa? Or do you think this is genuine, that Falynn and Dennis really are just randomly hanging out together? And what do you think about Porsha? I don't think she's a victim. I think she knew exactly what she got. And like they always say, you get what you pay for. So you knew Simon was a dog. You knew he was a liar. You knew he didn't respect women. You knew he was a fraud. So why are you acting surprised now that he has lied to you, that he's defrauded you, and he's probably cheating and everything else in the world? You knew who he was. You thought you were big upping Falynn, and you got what you paid for. It is what it is. It is what it is. So put it down below. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to Alexia. Dun, 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 dun.